Traders at Ho Central Market upset about 4-month-old rubbish heap. And World Trade Organization countries agree to abolish subsidies on farming exports. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. This is News Hour on GBC24 and GTV with Conrad Kakraba. Many forms of aggression and violence against women and children are still recorded daily. Many of these acts occur under the guise of cultural norms such as female genital mutilation, harmful widowhood rights, gender discrimination, and denial of property to women, among others. In an effort to end sexual and gender-based violence, the Ministry of Gender, with support from the Danish international agency Danida, has engaged community members at GBC24 and Ekumfi in the central region on the need to protect the rights of women.
Indicate that out of about 3,000 gender-based violence cases sent to courts in 2013, only 7.4% of the cases were dealt with. The Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, DOVSU, of the Ghana Police Service says as of December 2013, 66% of the cases were still pending in courts. Data from the 2014 and first 3 quarters of 2015 DOVSU reports also show that more than 50% of the cases recorded were against children. The trend is a reflection of the high rate of teenage pregnancies recorded in the region. For this reason, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has extended its project known as Ending Sexual and Gender-Based Violence in Ghana to the central region to engage community members and opinion leaders in the GBC24 and Ekumfi communities. It is also to help sensitize religious and traditional leaders to better understand the damaging practices and consequences of gender-based violence and build strong partnerships with the media to demystify the practice. For the participants, issues such as undue delay of cases, frequent adjournment, and the lack of adequate forensic science tests to help in investigations and evidence gathering need to be looked into to ensure that gender-based violence cases are successfully adjudicated. For the community members, the role of the police as investigators and prosecutors of sexual and gender-based violence cases and that of the judiciary in adjudication are very critical in combating gender-based violence.
Traders in the whole central market are asking when waste management company Zoom Lion and, for that matter, municipal authorities will clear a 4-month-old rubbish heap at the market. The traders complain that the heap is piling up and poses a health risk to both the traders and the general public.
As a result of the reconstruction works at the market, the traders have been compelled to sell along the roads leading into and out of the market. The project is under the Ghana Urban Management Pilot Program. The market is a source of revenue to the whole municipal assembly through the collection of taxes and levies, and is also a source of livelihood for many residents of communities within the region. But every big market, including the whole central market, has its own challenges. But for traders and patrons, when the situation threatens lives and property, it is important for the needed attention. The traders say the authorities of waste management company Zoom Lion and, for that matter, municipal authority have not paid attention to the rubbish at the market, which has resulted in a heap over 4 months at the whole market. The rubbish, which is gradually turning into a mountain, poses a health risk to both the traders and the general public. They complain of the stench emanating from the rubbish, but still sell their wares close to the market, oblivious of the health risks. Others, who also have their stores close to the rubbish, even cook nearby. Some traders who spoke to GBC24 were concerned about the attitude of the Zoom Lion officials. Some say the waste management company is aware of the problem. Kwame Pepra and Rebecca Kra sell at the whole central market.
This heap is affecting our businesses, and we appeal to the authorities to help clear it as soon as possible.
The rubbish has been sitting here for 3 months, and we are appealing to the Waste Management Organization to come and clear it.
As Maggi, an international household seasoning brand, celebrates 4 decades in Ghana, it has organized a nationwide cooking competition. The Maggi culinary category manager, Godwin Manful, said the objective is to celebrate its 40th anniversary with its faithful customers. The 13-week nationwide tour was climaxed in Accra.
Maggi is one of Nestle's well-known products. Arguably, every household in many countries has a Maggi product on a shelf in its kitchen. Nestle therefore organized a cooking tour across the 10 regions of Ghana to celebrate Maggi's 40th anniversary. At the end of the 13-week nationwide tour, 10 women who won in their various regions came together on one platform to compete for the ultimate prize. For their participation, each competitor walked away with a plug, cooking appliances, a hamper, and a Maggi 40th anniversary cloth. They also went on a 2-day tour of the Nestle factory in Accra. The second runner-up, Madame Joyce Kujo, who represented Takrady, won 400 cedis cash prize, and the first runner-up, Madame Esther Ejapoman, took home 600 Ghana cedis, while the lucky overall winner, Rafika Yakubu, who hails from Tamale, had 1,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Godwin Manful is the Maggi culinary category manager.
The message for this festive period is that you should eat healthy food and enjoy the festive period with your family. But of course, when you're cooking, you make sure that you put Maggi in your dishes.
The annual Junior Graphic Fanfare and final of the Spelling Bee competition has taken place in Accra. Cape Coast University Primary School came tops, beating Falseed Foundation School of New Achimota, their close contenders, by 7 points. The event was organized by Graphic Communications Group Limited to help the students to improve on their vocabulary and comprehension. University of Cape Coast Primary School, Falseed Foundation School of New Achimota, Accra, Family International School, New Achimota, Accra, and Kabori Basic School in the Volta region competed for honors. The competition ran from round 1 to 4, with Falseed Foundation School of New Achimota, Accra tipped to win the competition after it won both first and second rounds. The competition, which was keenly contested, saw Cape Coast University Primary School winning the 3rd and 4th rounds. The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Anaoye Litha, urged the students to cultivate the habit of reading. At the end of the competition, Family Life International School near Achimota, Accra, was 4th with 15 points. Kabori Basic School, who in the Volta region took the 3rd position with 28 points. The 2nd position went to Falseed Foundation, New Achimota, Accra, with 56 points, whilst Cape Coast University Primary School topped the group with 63 points and took the 2015 annual Fanfare Final Spelling Bee competition trophy to the Central Region, the Citadel of Education. A Class 5 pupil from the Cape Coast University Primary School, Lord Awinga Mba, spoke about his team's preparation prior to the competition. The participating schools received prizes including dictionaries, PlayStation and other souvenirs. The West Africa Episcopal District of the AME Zion Church has launched its 140th anniversary with the establishment of the AME Zion University.
After 140 years of its existence, AME Zion University tops the list of projects being discussed during the year-long celebration. At the launch of the anniversary at Keita in the Volta region, the presiding bishop of West Africa Episcopal District of the AME Zion Church, Right Reverend Dr. Seth Lati, revealed that a committee has been set up to supervise the establishment of AME Zion University. The DCE for Southton, Mr. Samuel Ewoyi, entreated the church to use the anniversary period to re-examine itself and identify its strengths and weaknesses.
At the Global Evangelical Church's Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mbisa Arthur, encouraged the church to nurture the children, teach them in their mother tongue to help them identify with their roots and appreciate cultural values.
Choir groups from the church's Mamprobi, Teshi, South La, Tema Community 4, Adonai, Kutubabi and Tesano branches took part in the event at the church's headquarters in Accra. The moderator of the church, Right Reverend Dr. E.K. Tete, asked members to give back to society, both spiritually and in kind, especially during Christmas time. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, was happy that some of the songs at the festival were in the local language, which she says teaches the young generation to worship the Lord in their own local languages. She encouraged parents to speak their mother tongue with their children at home, since they already learn the English language in school.
In certain homes, the children and the parents speak English, even though they are not British or Americans. And I was wondering why, if both parents understand the same language, they would speak English with their children. And I was turning it over, and I was just getting worried and asking myself, what can I do to help this? So coming this evening and hearing carols being sung in Ewe really uplifted me.
The church commended Mrs. Emisa Arthur for supporting the work of God. Theodore Amedeto, GBC24, Accra.
The Christ Faith Foster Home at Frafraha has received a donation from the Nazareth Revival Ministry International at La. The home faces a number of challenges, and the donation, especially for Christmas, is timely. Though it has received some support from a number of organizations and philanthropists, it still needs further assistance. And for this reason, the Nazareth Revival Ministry International donated items including rice, cooking oil, yam, confectionaries, among others. The head pastor, Apostle Daniel Abe, said it is the church's duty to support the needy in society, and the church will continue to assist the home. A supervisor of the home, Madam Henrietta Asari Ajiman, was grateful to the church and called on others to emulate the gesture. The Christ Faith Foster Home now has 40 inmates, 11 girls and 29 boys. They are in nursery, primary, senior high, and at polytechnic levels. This news hour on GBC24 will be back with more stories. Now some international news. Countries in the World Trade Organization, WTO, have agreed to abolish subsidies on farming exports. Developed countries agreed to stop the subsidies immediately, and developing nations must follow by the end of 2018. The WTO, which represents 162 countries, called it the most significant outcome on agriculture since the body's foundation in 1995. But long-standing talks on other trade barriers were left unresolved at the end of the summit in Kenya. Removing agriculture export subsidies is intended to help farmers in poorer countries to compete more fairly. WTO Chief Roberto Azevedo said at the closing session in Kenyan capital Nairobi that the decision on export competition is truly extraordinary. The Summit of Ministers, which finished, was the first to be held in Africa. An Air France passenger jet was forced to make an emergency landing in Kenya after a fake bomb was found in the toilet. The Boeing 777 on its way from Mauritius to Paris was evacuated at Mombasa Airport and the suspicious device taken away for examination. Air France Chief Frederic Gagi said that it was made of a cardboard box, paper and a timer, describing it as an extremely aggressive act. The plane, carrying 459 passengers and 14 crew, had left Mauritius at 1 p.m. GMT and had been due to fly directly to France And several passengers from the flight have been questioned by Kenyan police. The airline says it would press charges against those responsible and an inquiry would be held. Some 22 buildings have collapsed in a landslide at an industrial park in the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen. About 900 people have been evacuated, with 4 people pulled alive from rubble with minor or no injuries. No fatalities have been reported. Shenzhen's fire brigade said it was working to free other trapped people. At least 27 remain missing. 2 workers' dormitories are among the affected buildings. Some 1,500 firefighters are at the scene, and reports say the soil that came loose had been dug up in the past 2 years in construction work and was piled up nearby. The youngest convict in the notorious 2012 Delhi gang rape case has been released from a correctional center. Legal challenges failed to prevent the release. The victim's parents were among those detained later at a rally. The rapist, who cannot be named as he was a minor at the time of the crime, was sentenced to a maximum 3 years in a reform facility in August 2013. The rape and subsequent death of the woman caused global outrage. Although the convict is now an adult, he was tried as a juvenile and has served the full sentence allowed. He has now been handed over to a charity where he will remain because of fears over his safety. 4 adult convicts in the case are appealing against death sentences, and a 5th died in prison. We'll be back with sports. Now some sports news. The Secretary General of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Mr. Richard Akpokavie, says about 30 athletes will represent Ghana at next year's Rio Olympics.
Projection clear that's going to be a difficult year. Right from when the budget was read to now, we see the difficulties in terms of funding and where we'll get money to be able to execute our project. So we are looking at how we can get alternatives and how we can let government also understand that there are some responsibilities that government cannot shirk. They must support the athletes, otherwise we are losing out big time. Ghana will go to the Olympic Games, definitely. Number of athletes, we are not sure yet. But we are looking at the initial projection was between 20 and 30, hoping that we'll get team sports. But without team sports, we are looking at anything between 10 and 20. We are looking at athletics, boxing, taekwondo, weightlifting, judo. Those are the sports that we are looking at, volleyball.
Pep Guardiola is to leave Bayern Munich at the end of the season and will be replaced by Carlo Ancelotti. Guardiola, 44, has been linked with Manchester City, Manchester United and Chelsea, as well as Arsenal. The former Barcelona coach has won 2 league titles and the German cap since joining Bayern in summer 2013. Former Chelsea manager Ancelotti, 56, has been on a break from the game since being sacked by Real Madrid in May 2015. We'll be back with some arts news. Gone are the days when the type of footwear known as kambu was in vogue. Today, not many people wear kambu, otherwise called sneaker. And to regenerate interest in the wearing of this type of footwear, an event dubbed the Sneaker Festival has been held in Accra. It is the maiden edition, and Ghana is the first country in West Africa to host this festival.
Footwear is an important part of clothing worn by the modern man, and the sneaker is one such footwear worn mostly by young people and sportsmen. There was a display of various sneakers such as Nike, Jordan, Adidas, Puma, Converse, Reebok Birkenstock, Diesel, and many more. There was a rap show by Bandy Boy. This was followed by another performance by J Nice, a rapper. Also on the bill was Equiapim It's Your Boy KD, known in private life as Nana Jan. Speaking with GBC24, a Kambu vendor at the festival called on other sneaker dealers to join this campaign since it is a good platform to exhibit and market sneakers.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger platform that all sneaker vendors or sellers in Ghana think should be part of. Because just within 2 hours, we've been able to sell close to 20 sneakers. I think it's a good deal.
The brain behind the festival is Wolanyo Tete. He spoke about what inspired the Style and Sneaker Festival.
Sneakers are just no more, they are no more footwear, just protect your feet when on the move. They become a cultural thing. The whole idea is to give the chance to sneaker vendors across Accra. We're hoping to extend it to other parts of the country, but for now, it's based in Accra. You know, to give them the platform to sell their wares to the public.
The Guinness World Records has named the Members Church of God International Choir the world's largest choir. The choir has held a grand performance to mark its 35th anniversary. And so, we are in the penultimate week of the year. It's been another busy past week, from politics to the church, education and security. Whether fast or slow, December is winding up, and as it gathers steam, here's a quick run through the past week in pictures.
Weather report brought by with technical support from the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Winkle Weather Report. The high pressure responsible for the Harmattan winds over West Africa is once again going to intensify, and this time around is going to center itself over North Africa and is directly over us. And the winds are going to be northerly from tomorrow up to 25th. And as such, we expect visibility to reduce further. And for the whole country, these are some of the expected forecast visibilities that we are anticipating that will happen during this period. Currently, some areas are very poor over Yendi, Bole. Their visibilities are very, very poor, less than 1,000 over that area. So our temperatures, we are expecting it to further reduce by 1 degree over most areas. Over the north, upper west, that's we'll have an average of 18 over that area. Boku, Navrongo likely to range between 16 and 17. Moving down over the lake region, the Volta region, we expect it to be around 20 degrees Celsius. Greater Accra 23, those in Secondary Takrady 24. Sunyani, Kumasi likely to record 17 degrees Celsius for the night up to tomorrow in the morning. The afternoon, we expect the hazy sunshines to continue across the whole country. Temperatures will be a bit uniform, 33 over the north, 34 over Akuse and parts of the Volta region. And then Kumasi and Greater Accra Secondary will have 33 as well. But those in Akse, the temperatures are likely to be the minimum for the afternoon, 31 degrees Celsius. So this is going to be from now till tomorrow. Up on our screen is the forecast for the next 48 hours. Send us your comments, your suggestions to weather@winkle.com. Until we meet same time, it's bye for now.
To end the news, a recap of our top stories. Ministry of Gender is stepping up efforts to end sexual and gender-based violence in the country. The ministry has engaged community members at Junkwa, Krobo and Ekumfi Imna in the central region on the need to protect the rights of women. Traders in the whole central markets are worried about a 4-month-old rubbish heap at the market. The traders complain that the heap is piling up and poses a health risk to both the traders and the general public. And countries in the World Trade Organization WTO have agreed to abolish subsidies on farming exports. Developed countries agreed to stop the subsidies immediately, and developing nations must follow by the end of 2018. Next will be Talking Point, and we'll be discussing effects of small arms on internal security. Stay tuned. Have a good evening.